other things about me that I wasn't aware of consciously.
Are you aware of abilities that you have with water to this day?
Well, yeah, but unfortunately, whenever that does occur, I'm usually in an altar. But, like I said, acts witnessed a lot. When I get into that story, I mean, people are probably not going to believe it, but that's okay, because as you say, it's up to them to decide. Dave Corso witnessed a situation. I know that this is kind of fast-forwarding, but we did talk about this, and I'll just explain what happened. So, I was at Dave's house, where I go to a lot to get a little bit of serenity. And we had gotten word that Axe and another person were under some kind of attack or something. I don't remember exactly what. Dave would be able to tell the story better because I was not myself. He said that I switched into my altar that's called Seven. I'll explain later who Seven is. Seven and Dave have history. Again, we'll get into that. I've known Dave for more years than I've ever told, but I will tell that tonight. Seven turned to Dave, and again, I'm telling you what Dave told me. And he said that Seven told him to go get a hot bowl of water and put raw salt in it, supersaturated salt mixture. So Dave did so, and then Seven sat down on the floor in Dave's workshop, put right hand into the water, scalding hot water, mind you, and then laid another hand on one of his wolves, Herc, the famous Herc. Love that wolf. But anyways, so then what transpired next? Here's what happened. Dave said that he watched this kind of milky saltwater solution go from this milky white solution to a dark yellow with this murky-like blackness in it. Matter, in some way, through energy, had actually manifested into this water. I had pulled whatever was going on elsewhere in this water, and Dave said that it stunk. And I can tell you that I know it did, because when I came out of my alternate state, I saw the water. We had to dump it out way away from the house. My whole right arm was bright red. Yet, no burns on my hand. Not even first-degree burns. So, that was an incident that Dave had witnessed.
Well, I have to say, without you telling me that story specifically, Dave told me the same story pretty much word for word, so I can witness to what Dave has said, because he said the same thing to me, exactly what you're saying. So let's take it back to, thanks for sharing, by the way, let's take it back to after these people realize you have an ability with water.
Okay, well, here's where I can only give you little fragmented memories. Some of them are really unusual, and I haven't been able to make sense of them myself. But let's go to when I was around 5. I believe I was around 5 years old. I started being taken to a place out where we lived, where my family lived, to this guy's house. I believe his name was Mike. That's all I remember. I believe it was Mike, and I've talked to a family member, and this family member had said that name sounded right. Mike, and again, this part is theory. I need to talk to some more people about this, but Mike appears to have been my first trainer/handler. Mike would do a lot of things, having me, walk on everything from walking on hot gravel and learning to train myself to not react to the heat. Intense swimming regimen, actual survival training, taking me out. And this is I'm 5 years old, and he's teaching me how to what to eat and what not to eat, and how to survive. And then I remember being at his place and being put into a very small closet. Couldn't hear anything outside, pitch black. There was some kind of sensory deprivation. Really, I guess your torture. I mean, it's a 5-year-old kid. I'm sure I was scared. I mean, I remember the blackness. I remember being put in there for hours. These are things that were occurring on at that time. When I may have been 5, I may have been 6 at this time is when I started my weapons training. Learning how to hold a shotgun and learning how to fire a shotgun and other weapons, and doing a lot of training with knives, a lot of knife handling. So this was something that was definitely going on. I remember, okay, let's fast forward to another couple of instances that I have memory of, and again, have been able to get some of it verified. Possibly that some of this could be false memory, but it doesn't feel like it. When I was around 8, that's when I started going to these camps. These camps would sometimes just be a weekend. Sometimes it would be for a week. And what these camps were is when I was finally put into a group of other kids, other prospects. That's when I started actually, and this one I kind of giggle about because it seems very Vietnamish, but I was learning how to do tunnel ratting. We were actually learning, and then we're put into a team where we had to actually dig. This is out in the desert, where we had to build these really complicated tunneling systems. And we even had, sleeping quarters. We had, the bathroom area. We actually had ventilation, and we would sleep in there and, learn how to walk around or, really be undetected. That's, that's another thing that was happening. I remember being taken to a place by, I think there was about 4 men. I was taken to a river. I don't remember where this was at. Still got to work on that. But this river was cold, and I think it was winter time. And I remember being constantly dunked into this cold water over and over and over again. Now, what I found out now is that there was a lot of cold water exposure done to me. And even now, my body core temperature, and this is common with a lot of the people that went under Project Talent, my body core temperature is anywhere from 96.8 to 97.5. I have a naturally cold body core temperature. So
that's
yet another
below the normal.
Oh yeah, and believe me, I've when I was actually still going to hospitals to get checkups, I had a nurse who was checking my blood pressure, the vitals, blood pressure, temperature, and all that. My blood pressure was borderline dead as far as on the low end. My heart rate, which is always about around 60, and of course she thought I was, I don't know, maybe she thought I was like The Walking Dead or something. And that's happened on a few occasions. And I have to tell them, don't freak out. This is normal. I can't explain. It's just normal.
Right.
Now,
I'm sure they have questions.
Let me tell you this other thing. Now, this one is quite strange. I think I was probably about 9 or 10 when this occurred. Again, I'm with the same core group of kids. I think we started with a much larger group, and then at that point, when I was about 9 or 10, there was only 8 of us left. They had been weeding out the people that weren't quite suitable. We were taken to this big field. And there was a lot of rocks and sage,